Oftentimes, the reasons your lifts stall after adding weight is because you added weight too early. You rushed the progression. You weren't ready for that next 5 kilos on the bar. But because like me, you believe that weight on the bar is the best and the only measure of progress, you added weight. And then everything went to shit. Reps became super grindy. You are failing reps you expected to hit. And then you started doubting if you're doing this whole progressive overload thing right, and it messed with your head. And really, I'm talking about myself here. That was a description of me up until lately. Previously, I have been super guilty of rushing progress and chasing weights that I forgot the merit in owning the current weight that I'm on. And this is what this video's advice is about, and this is what I'll explore today. Own the current weight you're on before increasing it. Now that I've adopted this mindset of owning the weight first before taking a weight increase, I am no longer rushing the process of adding weight. And in this video, I'll explain what it means to own the weight, what rushing the process looks like and why you should avoid it, and the benefits of repeating the same weight for multiple sessions in a row. Now, I never thought I'd say that. We're always told that progressive overload and adding weight is the king of building muscle. So I never thought I'd be saying that there's benefit in repeating the same weight for multiple weeks in a row. However, as I've quickly learned, as a natural lifter, I got slapped around the face with progress not occurring. And why was progress not occurring? It was not occurring because I was rushing it. I was chasing weight on the bar. I was too thirsty to add the extra weight on the bar because I thought more weight equals more gains. But no. Now, as I've learned, repeating the same weight multiple weeks in a row to prepare myself, to get myself in a good position to then add the weight when I'm ready for it, number one, builds muscle, and number two, is the better way of doing things and is the best way of going about progressive overload. So in this video, let me first define what I mean by owning the weight. So let's say you're using a weight right now. Let's say you're doing 100 kilos for 10 reps on the squat. You can stick with 100 kilos for 10 reps, maybe 2 or 3 sessions, maybe 2 to 4 sessions, but each time your technique gets a little bit better. That's an example of owning the weight. Another example is sticking with the same weight for sessions upon sessions, but the reps in reserve decreases. So imagine you go to the gym on week 1 and you do 100 kilos for 10 on the squat, and it was a death set. It was a graveyard set. That's what I like to call them, graveyard sets, where you felt like, bro, impossible for me to get 1 rep. Even gun to the head, my whole family's life on the line. If I had to get 1 rep, I wouldn't be able to. Sorry, pops, you're gone. Do you get it? Like, sorry, family, I wouldn't be able to. That could be week 1. Week 2, you might repeat that same weight, and now it feels just a touch easier. Week 3, you might repeat the same weight, and you might find that, oh, hold on. This week, I feel like I could have gone for the 11th. I feel like I could have done more. That's progress. That's progressive overload, and that's muscle being built. There's nothing wrong in repeating the same weight week after week. And I want to actually bring up a diagram to present this. And this is something that when I finally really understood and it clicked in my head, I thought, wow, what an idiot I was to think that I have to add weight every single time. So look, guys, let's have a look here. So what do we have? Our example, squat 100 kilos for 10, right? Along the left-hand side, we got the stimulus that creates. So I'll quickly define stimulus. For the non-nerdy scientific people, stimulus just means how strong of a sign we're telling our muscles to grow. How strong of a reason we're giving our muscles to grow. And so right here, let me get a pen ready. Oh shit, everything's falling apart. Fuck, no, wait. How the fuck do I get my pen? Hold on, you guys, bear with me, one sec. Here we are. So, on week 1, you come in, oh no, yes, actually this is fine. On week 1, you come in, you do 100 kilos for 10, and it gives you a really good stimulus. Like, it's a really good stimulus for your quads. That doesn't now mean that if you are to come in on week 2 and do the exact same 100 kilos for 10, that you're going to get 0 stimulus. No. You're still going to get some stimulus. Yes, it will be a little bit less because your body has adapted, providing you're eating, sleeping right, all the good stuff out of the gym, right? Which you're going to assume that. Yes, your body has adapted, so it's a little bit of a lesser stimulus, but it's still a stimulus. And you know this to be true because just take any weight that you've done in the last couple of days for a set amount of reps and repeat that same thing, that same weight for reps next week, and realize how it's not just a piece of cake all of a sudden. It's not just easier just like this where you can do it while having a conversation and it's not tough. Like, no, if you were to repeat the same weight again next week, it's still tough. It's a little bit easier, but that difference in ease isn't even noticeable. It's marginally easier. And so you could repeat the same weight for weeks upon weeks upon weeks. Now, eventually, as you see, the stimulus will keep going down until we hit this red line here, which is the point where stimulus no longer creates an adaptation. In other words, if we just kept with 100 kilos for 10 reps, week upon week upon week upon week, eventually we get to this zone here where it's not enough of a stimulus to generate muscle growth. Now, I just want to say a quick note so we don't get confused. These dots aren't exactly a week apart, right? I'm just using a time scale. I'm just, generalizing here. I'm not suggesting that, 1, 2, 3, 4, if I do these roughly spaced apart, that we're going to be able to survive, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks before it doesn't make a difference. No, this is just a visual example, right? But you get what I'm saying. Sticking with the same stimulus week after week still provides us gains, but eventually those gains will run out. And it's really only at this point here when the weight doesn't give us enough stimulus that we need to plus kgs, that we need to add weight. Now, my problem, and this is what a lot of us do, is we add weight about here. We spend 1 week with a certain amount of weight, and then the next week we want to add weight. So I've tried to add weight. That was meant to be an arrow. This is meant to be K and G. I've tried to add weight here. And sometimes that's a bit too early. Now, not all the time. There are scenarios where you can add weight every single week and make progress, especially if you're bulking, especially if it's a new exercise you're doing that you've not done before, therefore your body isn't accustomed to it. But for a lot of us intermediate natural lifters, which is probably you, we're probably adding weight a bit too early. We probably need to add weight maybe around here. Now, again, don't take these dots literally. That's not to say that you should only add weight after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of doing a certain weight. No, that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm just using this as a diagram. But you get what I'm saying. We need to add weight a little bit later on. And there's a really good line that I heard Landon from Basement Bodybuilding say about this that summarizes exactly what I've said. If I can find it, I'll insert it right now.
This is what we're going to focus on here. You need to add weight when necessary, not when possible. You need to add weight when necessary, not when possible. When I kept adding weight when I wasn't supposed to, and when I couldn't do it properly, I would sacrifice other areas of my training. So I'd sacrifice my technique. I'd sacrifice the RIR I was using. There's all these little things that start to add up, and eventually, before you know it, you start to train a little bit more like a power lifter, and you focus way too much on the number.
Hopefully I was able to find it. If not, that's a bit awkward if I'm back on your screen without hearing the clip. Anyways, like I was saying, there's merit in sticking with the same weight because in between these dots, muscles are still being built. Like, we're still making adaptations, muscle is still growing. And so there's absolutely no shame and there's nothing wrong with sticking with the same weight and really owning it before you take that next weight jump. And by doing so, what this often does is it prevents a very, very harsh decline in reps once you do take that weight jump. How many times have you, matter of fact, let me speak to myself. How many times have you, Omar, jumped up in weight and then got like 3 reps? Like last week you were able to get a good set of like 7. Then you increase by 5 kilos and all of a sudden 3 reps. Like what, 3? That's too far off of 7. I wanted 7 reps. I expected maybe 6, but to get 3, like no, that's depressed me. That's made me upset. And as you guys know, I made a video earlier this week talking about, are you an emotional lifter? I'm a bit of an emotional lifter. And so when I don't make progress like this, it bums me out. And so now what I'm doing, like I said, is I'm sticking with the same weight for a little bit longer, really owning it, making sure my technique's right, making sure the reps in reserve decrease week after week. In other words, the weight feels a little bit easier, even if it's the same weight for the same amount of reps. If it just feels a little bit easier week to week, that's still progress. And I'm making sure I can recover from that weight. This last point now, being able to recover from the weight. Oftentimes, I've increased the weight on the bar, touched a new weight, done my set, and I wasn't able to recover from that set. That set was just a tiny touch. That's what I meant to say. My brain combined tiny touch and tiny bit together. So there we are, new lingo. That weight was a tiny bitch, too heavy, and it exceeded my recovery capabilities. And so when I came in the following week, my second attempt at this new and heavier weight, I got less reps. And then here I'm thinking, hold on, bro. Last week I took a weight jump. This week I'm meant to add onto that weight jump, get an extra rep. But instead I'm getting less reps. Like, no, this isn't meant to be happening. No, my life's falling apart. No. Do you get what I'm saying? So oftentimes when you add weight too early, you're not able to recover from it. And so this all circles back around to my initial statement at the start of this video of why there's merit in repeating the same weight until you really master it, until you really own it. And the example I gave about myself of wanting to add weight too quick, that's how we can define rushing the process. Too many of us try to add weight too quick because we believe that weight is the best measure of muscle growth. As long as weight on the bar is going up, we're building muscle. Weight on the bar going up does build muscle, but so does getting more reps with the same weight. So does improving the technique with the same weight, reducing the reps in reserve with the same weight, making sure we're recovering from the same weight. All of that builds muscle as well. So there's no need to rush the process, and don't do what Omar does and add weight after only 1 or 2 exposures to a weight, right? So let's say I'm doing the hack squat. Let's say I've got 2 plates aside as an example. I'll stick with 2 plates aside for maybe 2 sessions, maybe 3 max. And then by the time the 4th session comes along, I'm thirsty. I'm dying for that weight increase. If I'm able to take that weight increase, I will. And let me make something clear. I'm not demonizing increasing the load in any way. I'm not suggesting we should be pussies and bitches and train with low intensity and fear weights. No, let's all increase the weight. Everyone loves a weight increase. Like, that's how the fuck you make gains. Everyone loves more weight on the bar. When the weight increase is there, I'm the first one to snatch it up. But the point of this video and what I'm saying here is oftentimes, and I'm guilty of this, oftentimes the weight increase isn't there just yet. We just have to stick with the current weight we're on for maybe 1 or 2 more weeks before we take that weight increase. So really this entire video can be summed up as be patient, my friend. Be patient. Let's have some patience when we lift. Let's not rush the weight increases and let's not take them too early. Let's take them when we're ready for them. And last point, like I said, there is benefit in repeating the same weight week after week. It still creates a stimulus. Let's cast our minds back to that diagram I showed. Actually, I can just pull it up. What am I talking about? Here we are. There's still benefit in repeating the same weight. It's not like the stimulus just drops off if you were to repeat the same weight next week. Like, no, you still get a muscle building stimulus. You still get a trigger for growth. And oftentimes you need to string together maybe 2 or 3 consecutive weeks of the same weight for then your body to build enough muscle for you to come in on the 4th week and add weight on the 4th week. Or maybe even add reps. Maybe you need to do 3 weeks of 100 kilos times 10 for you to then get the 11th on the 4th week. And nobody likes the sound of that. But what, I have to do the same weight many weeks on end? Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, bro. That's just the truth that no one's going to talk about on YouTube Fitness about being an intermediate natural lifter. That's just the truth, bro. Now, if you're a beginner, if you're in your first years of lifting, what I said doesn't really apply. You're so sensitive to growth and your muscles are so unadapted that you can probably add weight every week and add reps every week or every 2 weeks. But as an intermediate lifter at the stage that I'm in, this is the current problems I'm facing. I need to just have more patience and realize that oftentimes it will take maybe 2 weeks with the exact same weight for my body to build enough muscle for me to then get the additional rep on the 3rd week, for example. So yeah, this entire video can just be summed up as patience, patience, patience. Let's take the slow lifting approach. Let's take the right lifting approach. let's not rush weight increase. So if your lifts have stalled after adding weight, this is what I recommend. Strip back that weight, and whatever weight you're left with, stick with that current weight until you really own it. Make sure technique is consistent week to week. Make sure that it feels just a slight bit easier week to week. Make sure you can actually recover from it, because there's no point in, this is what happened to me. I realized that once I took a weight jump, and I took that weight jump, I done my, it was a set of 7. I came in next week aiming for a set of 8, of course, because I wanted to get an extra rep, but I got a set of 4. And so that means when I done that first set of 7, I wasn't able to recover from it. So stick with the same weight week to week and prove to yourself you can recover from it. That's a sign that you've built muscle and that your body is strong enough to handle that weight. If you're able to get 7 reps, week 1, week 2, week 3, consistently 7, 7, 7, then you're ready to go for that 8th on week 4, or take that 5 kilo jump on week 4. If on the other hand, you're getting 7 reps week 1, and then it's too much for you to recover from, it's too big of a stress, you come in on week 2 and you only get 4 reps, then that's a sign that you are most definitely not ready for a weight increase, and thank God you didn't take a weight increase on that week 2. So yeah, that's been today's video. If you are struggling to, if your lifts are stalling after adding weight, this is what I recommend. Be a patient lifter, own the current weight you're on. And like I always say, if I'm on your screen right now, then I've kept your interest somehow. Coaching links down below. If you've gained any value from this video, let me help you one-on-one, more in depth. Check out my Instagram for testimonials. You can message me there about coaching, or book a free call down below, all that good stuff. If I'm on your screen right now, then I've kept your interest somehow. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.